E for MarketWizards.com and eMiniWizard.com. Reminding traders to use risk capital you can afford to lose. It's about 10:45 on Friday, the 22nd of November, 2019. Right, one of the things I want to talk about was I had said earlier, we had a fairly steep trend line, and you can draw them any way you want, from high to low and lows to highs, and try to get an edge in your thinking. And I said that, you could see kind of a trend line, but it was pretty steep. And whenever you find a trend line that you think is too steep, doesn't negate the idea that we could be going long side. So it's certainly a wedge, but you want to understand over time the law of averages is in your favor when you start to allow for a shallower trend line, one that's more sustainable, like that 45-degree angle, as opposed to too steep. So I rely on that intuitively when I post that, well, maybe we're ahead of ourselves. Maybe we need more time. May not negate the case for the long side, but it may say we're not ready yet because it's probably too aggressive, too steep. So that's part of how I try to use that idea. And I think we need mental tricks like that to help ourselves. And the other day I was talking about Les Brown and how we a lot of times put that emergency brake on ourselves and don't allow our intuition to work. And that's an example of it. And you can kind of draw them anywhere you want. And then as the market gives yourself more evidence, then you can say, okay, that makes sense. So for me, that 98 kind of makes sense from here as supportive. And we said intuitively that got to work off of this guy right here as perhaps our resistance. So you try to give yourself some edge in your thinking by understanding these points ahead of time. Not when they get there and you have to react and make decisions, but already ahead of time, understanding these pressure points that may give us an edge in the market. So that's been identified right there as our support pivot till that breaks. That's holding us up. And this one as our resistance pivot right there, holding us down. And then the range trade in between. And starting out with this 12 to 14 as resistance, and obviously you got to break the 6 to 5 area if you want to come down in this box. So that puts the pressure now on obviously the day's low to hold or come back into the next one. So now we slide these down one box. Say, all right, support box. Current transition box. And this is obviously our resistance box for now. And I use this as a teaching device as much as anything to help show you the range that I'm talking about. Hope visualization will help. Because you can have too much stuff on your charts and then you get the paralysis by analysis. So realistically, you want to keep a couple of charts clean where you can see ideas and then put ideas on. And you should be able to immediately, say, okay, that's support obviously until broken, and that is without all the spaghetti and all the other stuff. So that's support. These little doji bars in here, support. Obviously resistance back here, the double top we talked about. And then the midweek we talked about right there. So currently that seems to be our immediate frame that needs resolving. And if that's true, if 12 is our resistance. And if O2 is trying to hold, then we already know that just by math, if a 10-point range is there, then obviously 7 is going to be our middle. And that's how we can use dynamic pivots and keep adjusting as the market moves. And we know that's an important idea. So round numbers, if we've got 98, we've got the 7. Let's call it 08. And 98, then we know down in here, the 03 area is going to be also a middle pivot in that relationship. And that's how you can start to fine tune your ideas. So we don't want paralysis by analysis. We want to have a clear head. We also want to know where a bigger support is. All right, so if that's a big support basis yesterday, and that's a big resistance basis yesterday, then by that same dynamic we just talked about, that makes the 04 the middle. So we always look for these bigger and smaller ideas that need resolving. And then courtesy of Don, he talked about the gap being the middle from this low, same idea, to that high, to that middle, 4, 5, 6. So anybody that's played backwards for the gap, that was our 4 target. This is our 5 target. And then obviously this is our 6 target, about a 1.5. Simple as that. And that breaks, door gets opened up to that 98 test. That breaks, 96 test. That breaks, 93 test. So this is a visualization of the range step by step, and very helpful to know these relationships. And this without a lot of energy in it, and just trying to pick patterns and see where tails are, where tails are here. Just trying to help us all understand the nature of the beast. So if we get shake and bake today, we'll need some kind of a news event. Never going to count the longs out, but we do know until broken, that's our resistance. And we're searching for support at the present time. And the long side case has gotten harder really until we get some kind of a news event. And I find usually if they want the long side, they're going to squeeze you early. They didn't today. That was one of the big clues. Stops down. Anybody here at that 1.5? Testing support. Step by step. NQs were a pretty good clue. Taking out their lows, testing the bottom box. Boarded up here at the middle. And we've had a sell. These are 30-minute bars, so the last hour. And the RTY. Also boarded at the middle. 3 boxes. Obviously, there's 82. Key support for now. So a lot of, I would say the market so far, it's kind of showed the same pattern. ES seems a bit stronger than the others. So I like I like to see that they're all in sync. This seems to be a little bit stronger than NQ and RTY. A little bit more than the middle was able to achieve, but not during RTH. This is one of my best charts that I've shared with you guys, without a doubt, over and over. It's a swing trader's chart. Gives you enough days to play around with and see the rhythm for about 5 days or so. And this one, obviously, I can put back over here, but still the same range. And those of you who are, working with that tool, just a reminder, just go back and first of all, find the right one. It should be it. And the range offset, instead of 04, just put it back 5. And you've got the week's range and showing everything in the week. Look at the symmetry here too. Let me just point that out before we shut down this video. All right, and there's your middle. Spike up here, rejected, 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 and then obviously the symmetry move down here. So realistically, we know right now this is what's being traded. The upper half of the lower half. And that's why this is an important idea, making sure you paid 02s, 01s. And the day is, still got time. So here's our current range that needs to be resolved. And this is the throwaway. And I said maybe later, third time through. Seemed a bit early for it. They could have jammed on something, but I thought we needed some backing and filling. Certainly better odds if you want to buy near the overnight low than buying the highs. All right, I hope that helps. Ed, I hope you're watching these. Guys like Kyle tend to watch them after hours. They're busy. So hopefully this will help you see some of the things I'm looking at.